Hello guys, welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. We don't bring you another Ogbonge news concerning Hope Uzodinma, Governor Hope Uzodinma in Imo State. Hey, una know what he don't do, Biafrans, and what did they do his people. I bet let's quickly hit this video. I'll be right back.
About Hope Uzodinma is already asking forgiveness from God. You understand that actually we are all sinners? Well, is it surprising seeing a governor approaching God for forgiveness?
It was a very, in fact, the news went viral all over the old eastern Nigeria about Hope Uzodinma, considering so many factors was looked into, and when he demanded that he has handed over his life to Christ, and he has apologized to IGBOS for whatever wrong. I don't know. This happened live in a church service, but people are asking, because of the revelation that came from one of the commanders of the Biafra army, who came openly and told the whole world how Hope Uzodinma led a coalition of other governors and northerners in Aso Rock to resist and make sure that Nnamdi Kanu was not released. As when appropriate, that the release of Nnamdi Kanu is going to destroy a lot of them and render the Eastern politicians, useless. Let me just use that word, that angle. Remember, these people were able to disclose a lot of things that went underground that a lot of Biafrans do not know, that transpired when Hope Uzodinma was installed by the Fulanis as the governor of Imo State. And the number of thousands of Fulani jihadis that are democide, though it was seen as part of the agreement that led to Hope Uzodinma becoming the governor of Imo State. So a lot of things were also built around the death of Ikonso. A lot of things was built on the insecurity that's happening in Olo or Kivu axis. We will also discover how Asari Dokubo, leveraged on the same source and unleashed killings, powered by Fulanis and those who are working with them as governors in the eastern part of the country. So these are the things that a lot of people are saying, that immediately the Biafran commander, disclosed what was going on and how Hope Uzodinma connived with 10 Fulani governors to meet in Abuja and stop whatever that's going to lead to Nnamdi Kanu's release. It was me that was saying it.
But if I may ask, are you in any way suggesting that Hope Uzodinma is a stumbling block to Nnamdi Kanu's release?
Definitely, from the revelation we just had, from the revelation that was going on, I think it has become very clear to him now that he's about to leave office, and he's going to answer questions of whatever atrocity that was recorded, that was done to Nnamdi Kanu's rendition. You understand? So, and another factor is that a lot of Igbo leaders, especially those that call themselves political leaders, who tailored and championed the campaign against Nnamdi Kanu after coming under serious pressure from Sultan of Sokoto, from Fulani, over what Nnamdi Kanu was saying and doing, that's already impacted the outsiders, that's already impacted the Nigerian youth, that's already beginning to create some level of consciousness that Nigerians are beginning to ask questions. No doubt about that. Nnamdi Kanu actually waked up the consciousness of over 150 million youths in Nigeria who are already unemployed and docile, and who are now beginning to ask questions. What Nnamdi Kanu gave rise to people like, a very dark man, a lot of things like that, who came later and acknowledged that the Igbos in Benin are more than the indigenous themselves. That most of the Benin people who are in the southeast are Igbos, and the Igbos are Benin people. But that is not the area where I'm going. I'm trying to tell you that Nnamdi Kanu, through his message and campaign, was able to awaken a lot of consciousness, especially the youth.
Now, let me bring this angle, because there's a growing conversation currently in the media that if Nigeria had listened to Nnamdi Kanu, that all these incessant killing, attacks wouldn't have been at this stage we are. Because we understand that currently there's a new terror group that just emerged in the North Central. And people are saying, allow Nnamdi Kanu go. Approach him, let him give Nigeria template to solve Nigeria's security.
Yes, anybody that is taking that line might not be far from the truth. Because even in the north, even in everywhere Nnamdi Kanu is being celebrated, how do you see every Nigerian in any corner at any point, whether it's Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa, discussing the impact of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the society for over 10, 15, 20 years now, when Mazi Kanu elected the entire world, on the ongoing agenda of the Fulanis. A lot of people do not believe it. But unfortunately for the Ohanese leaders themselves, of the Igbo leaders themselves, they were not able to checkmate how some of these governors emerged as governors, to the extent that, they were not able to stand and resist any form of Fulani infiltration in the Biafran land till date. So that is the essence of what we are seeing today. So some of these governors now, as at that time, the socio-cultural group of Igbo, the Ohanese Igbo, should have been in a position, and other Igbo unions and groups should have been in a position to check very well how these governors, who is behind them and all that. And I can tell you for now that they have taken over, more than thousands of lives. Boko Haram has been able to survive in the eastern part of the country. So people are looking at it. That's the angle. But Uzodinma is asking for Igbo forgiveness. When you say Igbo forgiveness, it means that, maybe to an extent, he has realized that his tenure is coming to an end, or possibly he is seeing signs that the agreement or memo, whatever agreement they have entered with the Fulanis, has backfired, and the ESA has risen to that conquest and challenging the status quo of Fulani infiltration in the entire eastern part of the country. And maybe that was led to what the Ghanaian government is trying to do at this point in time, and stating it very clearly, because most of this professional job work that is being done by ESN, more kudos to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are seeing massive exodus of Fulanis in the entire eastern region. That was why we are hearing reports that most of them are already in Lagos now, and some of them are heading towards Ghana. But unfortunately for them, the Ghanaian government has shut down whatever border that will link Fulanis to infiltrate Ghana at this point. So it is a big win for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at any time. Well, the matter is still boiled down to, at this point, hope Uzodinma will he be forgiven.
Okay, now let me bring this angle, because as I speak, the governor of Plateau State moved one very, very clear that what the state witnessed is genocide in nature. And we are seeing a situation where the president that have a mandate, the responsibility, going by his oath of office to protect lives and property, is advising the Plateau State governor to summon with power to restore peace in the state. People are now asking, does it not behove on you as the commander of the armed forces to address the insecurity rather than summoning the governor to restore peace?
Pastor, there's an issue. I can tell you, when I listen to the public press release and the speech made by one of the Enugu leaders, traditional leader or a former senator, let me just put it that way. I do not know the status of that man, that to be very honest with you. But I listened to that man very well, and I discovered that what is happening in the entire eastern part of the country was as a result of what the governors has actually laid down for the northern Fulanis to infiltrate, just because they felt that they have been conquered, and that without the Fulanis, there will be no governor of them becoming governor in that state. And let me know the question people are asking. We have 16 million Fulanis in their numbers. There are 16 million. We have 66 million Hausas, and we have other tribes and other regions. Putting all of them together, we're talking about 200 million or less. Then how come 16 million Fulanis in Nigeria have defeated the over 200 million in Nigeria? It's a question Hope Uzodinma and his cronies must answer. Whether Hope Uzodinma feel that we are going to forgive, well, we don't know what happened to Ikonso, we don't know how Biafran were killed, we don't know how Nigeria terrorist army police and the rest of them infiltrated Oro and wiped away the entire community. How Uzodinma must answer those questions.
But let me even jump in here.
Tell us
Let me jump in here, Mr. Chidibo, you know, if you permit me. What do you think is panacea for this current problem of insecurity everywhere, particularly Fulani militia that we are currently seeing a new terror group?
Well, I think that the best way to answer that question is what Emeka Odumegwu said in 1968 or thereabout, where he told the British government and the Fulanis that the unprovoked war against Biafra will get to a point that the people will later, even at that point, will later, rise up against them if they feel that they continue to marginalize and oppress and suppress the Igbo nation. That's what happened. So the agenda of trying to conquer Nigeria, especially the Igbo people, is what is triggering the major insecurity in the country. And of course, these guys over the years have already mapped out the whole thing. Remember, it took Babangida some time to be able to wipe away all the powerful army generals in the Middle Belt. When IGBOS succeeded in doing that, we saw what happened during Abu Salami. We saw how these people, to a point that nobody can stand up in the Middle Belt at a point to defend Middle Belt, because IGB has wiped away almost all the generals there. So it is a plan, it's a phase that they have been building up at the moment that they found Buhari, and it became very significant under Buhari. So the only way is when they have exhausted the issue, the issue of restructuring, it couldn't work, and the next thing is for the international community, the United Nations, to look into the Biafran issue. If the Yorubas and the Hausas want to stay together, so be it. Nobody has problem about that. But at least at this point, since it has become very clearly now that the Christian Biafrans is the target of the Nigerian Fulanis, of the Nigerian Islamic military. That is the game. So the best thing is for us to go our separate ways. But unfortunately, those who are in a position of power, who are supposed to resist some of these things, telling them, I don't know why Eastern governors will be there, and they are seeing their people killed on daily basis, and no one, not even one, no single governor can stand up.
But some will say that they are handicapped, because looking at the Nigerian security architecture, the command and control system that comes from Abuja to the down, do not give the governor a role to play in the chain of command and control of the security system.
But what happened when there was killing in Edo State? What was the reaction of the northern governors? We saw the reaction. We saw the resistance. We saw the threat. We saw the carnage that took place in Ebonyi State. How many governors or ministers were able to come out and publicly condemn? Nobody came out. But we saw what the northern governors did when we saw what happened in Edo State. That's what we are talking about. They are in charge. That is it. So imagine a situation where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu were not able to establish something like ESN. Imagine what would have happened. And still, Uzodinma led a military force, the same thing that the governor of Anambra is doing at this point in time. They connect together. They say one is a Bubago, one is it, and they were killing the Biafrans themselves, creating more space, creating the understanding that the Fulanis can easily come in and do anything and nothing will happen. When they are trying to create this thing that is countering what is happening now.
Well, let us even look at this Hausa waking up recently to realize that there's a difference between Hausa and Fulani. You can clearly see an Hausa man in a viral video trying to differentiate between Hausa and Fulani. And this is a situation Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have canvassed and worried about the Hausas allowing the Fulani to subjugate them and dominate them.
Unfortunately, I don't know how serious the Hausa youths are, but there's a lot of campaign, going on there. I think they are trying to mobilize themselves, but I don't know how they are going to rise against 16 million Fulani domicile in the north. I don't know how they intend to achieve that. Most of them are emirs, most of them are governors, and all the rest of them. Most of them have alliance with Boko Haram, championing the agenda of Iran in Nigeria, the Sunnis in Nigeria, the Shiites in Nigeria, and the Arab world sponsoring the Islamization, because they make sure that everything that was in Nigeria, that God has blessed Nigeria with, they lay their hand upon it, on it. And their target has always been the eastern part of the country. They say they don't have problem with the Yoruba. They can do it at any time, and they already have an understanding. But the main thing is, how are they going to conquer the eastern part of the country, to Islamize the country? And you can see the plan is ongoing. It was a tailored plan. How they came with installing government. Look at the most surprising is the governor of Anambra State, Soludo. Look at the kind of leadership. Look at the kind of leadership. Look at, he has finally bowed down to the Fulani. But a time will come when the Biafrans themselves will no longer forgive the lies of Uzodinma, even though he's asking for forgiveness. You can no longer forgive him.
Was it not from God? Is it from man?
Well, when you see, I think the voice of the people is the voice of God. When you tender forgiveness, it has to start from humanity first. You have to go and apologize to all the Igbo youth you allow Fulanis to kill in Imo State. You have to apologize to all the Igbo youth you allow Fulani terrorist army. Bro, do you know when they were saying they were dumping Boko Haram in the east? Where are they dumping them? The painted Boko Haram that they moved to the east. Where are they? I don't know the one killing people in the east now. Who gave them the room? Who opened door for them? It's the same Uzodinma. Who stopped marching on the candles to leave? It's the same Uzodinma. So there's a lot of questions Uzodinma is going to answer at the end of the day. And I can tell you, in honest truth, questions upon questions. And I can tell you too, the same people who come together are responsible. I don't know why these people will stay. The Fulanis are in charge of the crude oil. The Yorubas are in charge of the Nigeria. Everything about Nigeria is centered among these two people. Still, any voice that rise to question the rationale, the Igbo leaders themselves will gather together, plan with them. That is what is happening in Finland currently now. Any voice that is rising against the Fulani, the Igbo governors themselves. I wonder, don't the Igbos have traditional rulers? What is Obi Ofonita doing? What is the meaning of having traditional leaders that cannot call this, that are seeing this thing on everybody? They keep quiet because it's Igbo people conquered. We are not conquered. What happened in Nigeria during the Nigerian Civil War was a ceasefire. As simple as that. Philip Effiong signed a ceasefire, and as simple as that, Igbo were not conquered. And I can tell you that repeatedly.
As a way of rounding up, remember that the one after the war talked about 3R, talking about reconstruction, reconciliation, and integration. Are you satisfied with the way you carried on with that?
Is Gowon satisfied? Is Gowon is not running? Is he not weeping? I think Gowon not rejected Nigeria more than 3 times. What happened to Uzodinma? Nigeria has refused to learn that Igbo blood is sacred. You cannot conduct to waste Igbo blood and you say Nigeria will work. Nigeria can never work. Because Igbo men are not killers, they are not violent. Nigeria brought violence upon Igbo people. And God is watching, and they will continue to face the consequences. There's no way out. The one that is running away, he was the one making mouth. You defended the outside, you defended the Fulani, now you are running. Where are you running to? You say you reject Nigeria. Nigeria will not reject you in Jesus' name. Go on, Uzodinma. Nigeria will not reject you. You must be in Nigeria by force.
Alright guys, kindly subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Like and share this video. Let it go viral. Thank you and bye for now.